Hello, we're back with a new video. So today we're coming out to look for mushrooms. We're gonna forage for mushrooms. This is, I'll show you the background. This is a random patch of logging road and forest we found. And we'll see if we can find anything. We're looking for, what are we looking for today?
Hopefully some pine mushrooms, some porcinis. We're a little bit past chanterelle season now, but you never know what you can find, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll show you guys what we find, and yeah, this is where we're looking. And our dog's right here, and there's a car coming, so see you in a bit. Okay, so this is our first find. It's raining pretty heavily today, but this is a patch of chicken of the woods mushroom. So this is a kind of shelf mushroom that grows on dead trees. You can tell there's a whole bunch right here. However, you can tell it's, spitting rain today. It's quite damp in the forest, and these are just a little bit past prime. Yeah, so if I were to take this, you can see that it's a little bit crumbly and really sort of wet inside. Generally, you want these to be of a firmer texture, so these are not worth gathering.
To the forest, and as we were walking, we actually found a little bit of a little patch of chanterelle right here. Here's
This is the dog.
Some of these are a little bit too old. I'll show you guys what is worth picking and what's not. It is raining quite heavily, so most of these are waterlogged, but this guy right here is still firm. It's just a little bit wet, so it's definitely still worth it.
This one right here, probably less so. You can see a little bug chilling there, and the top is a little bit gross. But
in order to harvest one of these, it's best recommended to actually cut them so that you don't damage the mycelium underneath. So they're pretty easy to cut. And here is our first chanterelle of the day. Hopefully we'll find more.
there's one little other baby one here. They usually grow in patches. There's a bunch around here that are a little past gone, but yeah. Actually, for this you could probably dry it, but it looks a little bit off, so we'll leave it here. Okay. Hopefully you find more. There's the dog. Dog did not step on our chanterelle. So Jenny was just walking through. Yeah, look at this thing. This, you can put your hand next to it to like demonstrate the size. This is a hand-sized chanterelle, and it actually still feels pretty firm.
It's firm, 100%.
So this is a pretty great find by Jenny. This is one huge chanterelle.
And we're about, what, like 2 meters from where we found the first patch. So
Yes.
chanterelles, typically they grow in patches. So you'll always, when you find one, always make sure to look around. You'll never know if you find more. But we're gonna go harvest this guy. So a couple feet away from where we found the motherlode chanterelle, there we found actually another bigger patch that was right beside it. And among the patch there is a perfect example of what a Pacific golden chanterelle look like. You're looking for that gold in color, and if I were to cut it, the way that it feels as you're cutting through it is very firm. And what you're looking for at the bottom of the gill is, these are not gills, they are called
Like veins?
Veins, and you can see that they're irregular and they split off and they go all the way down from the cap to the stem.
And you can tell that when you cut the middle of the stem, it is stringy in texture, and also it's white in the middle. It's not orange all the way through. This is once like Jenny said, a perfect example, and it's not waterlogged at all. So we'll keep this one. I'll show you the surrounding area. This is a pretty sort of boggy, mulchy area. There's some sword ferns here. You can see in the distance there's another big chanterelle. Various, tree conchs. Yeah, Pacific Northwest, the rainforest, a lot of ferns. Some mysterious polypore mushrooms here as well. So this here is actually a species of hedgehog mushroom. It's called that because on the bottom there are these long spines instead of gills or ridges. They're really easy to ID. I'm not exactly sure what specific species this is, so we're gonna take this home and give it a bit more of an ID, but generally these are edible and actually quite tasty. And I'll show you, if you just follow me with the camera, I'll show you a couple more. So this is the area that we're finding them in. You can tell the logs are rotted through. But right where I came through, you can see that there is another one there of the same species, another one over there. another one over here. So they generally grow in, dense patches like this. If you see one, look around for more. So yeah, we'll take these and we'll keep on moving. Jenny found something! So we actually switched spots a little bit, and Jenny found...
We found the king of mushrooms!
A porcini, or a
porcini.
king bolete. It is huge with Jenny's
size of my
hands
hand.
next to it.
It's a little bit sketchy trying to dig it out because it's inside of the soil, so I'm gonna use a knife to try to excavate this.
You just,
As much as
you just pull it out. And it'll give you a sense of the scale. Like Jen's hands are small, but not that small.
I can't get it out.
I believe.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It is a big
Look at
mushroom.
this big baby.
So this is a king bolete. You can tell that these are pretty prone to bugs. There's gonna be some little insects on here, but is it firm?
It's very firm.
Really firm. That's probably, like a 1.5 pound king bolete.
Yeah.
They're called penny buns also, and you can tell because the top of the cap sort of looks like when it's not really wet, looks like a piece of bread, or like a loaf of bread. But these are prized mushrooms actually, so good eye.
I would say that this is about a pound.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we previously sort of got some of these and dried them. This one we might actually eat tonight. We'll see how it goes.
So as we're walking around, this is a very good example of a mushroom not to get. This is a species of highly poisonous Amanitas, and one of the cool features is that you can always see these little extruding polka dots that's on top of it, and as you excavate it out a little bit, you can see that it has a veil underneath, which are like these guys right
It's
there.
like a little ring where the cap used to be attached to the rest of the mushroom.
And if we were to put it up, pretty cool thing is that it has a bulb at the bottom.
And that's called a volva, V-O-L-V-A. There's some little bugs there, but these always have these little bulbs at the bottom.
Yeah.
And if you were to cut it open, you would see sort of like a tulip bulb shape at the bottom. I don't think all of these species are poisonous, but some of the deadliest mushrooms in North America are of this sort of, I think, genus or species. Yeah. So if you see something like that, it's probably best to avoid.
Another cool find, these are, if we could come closer to here, these are called elven saddles. We do see people eat these. Very cool features. They sort of look like a morel, where it's like a what would you call this texture?
It's like a jelly ear texture at the top.
Yeah, a jelly ear texture. And the spores of these, unlike normal mushrooms where they come out of gills, they actually just pop out of these veins right here. We don't know too much about this, but they look super interesting. So we are going to harvest these and do a little bit more research and see what we can do.
Yeah, see if they actually taste good and see if they're worth gathering.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Jenny found over here, this is an admiral bolete. So if you take a look at the top, it's got sort of a velvety, soft purple top. And underneath, it has orange gills. So this is another bolete mushroom. The gills on this one, you can notice, are a lot bigger compared to the king bolete. And it has sort of like a woody, light purplish colored stem. And these apparently taste lemony, so choice mushroom. All right.
This is our mushroom brush, and this is the relative size to the brush.
Yeah.
Good find.
Cool. Okay, so we wandered probably, 5-10 feet from the last admiral that we found. And there's another really good example right here. It doesn't look too buggy, but we just wanted to give you sort of an idea of the general environment that they grow in. So I'll pick this. And usually how you can tell that, whether they're buggy or not is how firm the stem is. Normally the boletes have very firm stems, and then if the bugs don't get into them, they sort of stay firm. They're not hollowed out. So you have to be pretty brave about digging your hands into the undergrowth, but cut this off afterwards. The underside is a little bit further gone, but still not too buggy. Actually, it's not buggy at all. And what we'll do is, I'll do it right now. I'll take my knife out. we'll cut the bottom of the stem off, and we can see if there's any insects. And it looks like there is some, so you can tell right there. All right, there's some holes in it. We'll just keep on slicing upwards until we get to a point where we don't see bugs anymore. Still one, and now we're clean. So we have this nice big firm cap up top and a little bit of stem. And if you just look right over here, there's actually a couple of more admirals as well, and these also feel okay. So we'll gather these up and we'll report back on how they taste later. Yeah.
We are just heading back to the car after about 3 pounds of a mushroom haul, and as we were going, this is another species of Amanita, and the specific name of this one is actually called the flying Amanita. You can see there is the protruding white polka dots again,
Scabs on top here.
and the veil on the bottom. And if I were to, ooh, that's very soft. I don't want to touch
If
it.
we wanted to pull it up, there'd be a little vulva at the bottom as well. And then generally, Amanita species have a really soft stem. So if you're trying to confuse it with some, or if you're trying to identify some other mushroom that you think is edible, this is one of the identifying factors. Yeah, so this mushroom is actually, you can see the vulva right there, this little bulb at the end. And then some people actually, this is a fairly poisonous mushroom, but some people actually will brew this into a tea or eat it because it does actually have mildly, not even mildly, it does actually have psychedelic properties as well. But I personally wouldn't recommend it because I think you'd come down with a pretty bad stomach ache. Okay, so we are done our sort of trek through the woods. Every time we do this, we sort of end up bushwhacking a little bit more than we want to, so we busted our way out of the woods with a pretty good haul of mushrooms.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah, so we'll clean off the dirt a little bit when we get home, but we have a really good amount of admiral boletes. Our gigantic king bolete once again, and
I would say about 1.5, 2 pounds of chanterelles.
yeah, and there's some mixed hedgehogs in there, so that's our haul for the day.
Pretty successful basket, actually.
Yeah, old basket for scale compared to Jenny.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we picked up this hobby probably a year and a half ago, and you know, we own a dog, and I think it's just a really good way for us to get out in the woods and go for a walk, and there's a reward afterwards, so really cool.
So we are now back in the car, getting ready to drive back home after a long day of trekking and foraging for whatever we could have found in the forest here. Finn here is now exhausted. Finn.
His little tired face. He used to be white before today. What a treat. Yeah, he probably needs a bath when he gets home, but luckily he doesn't understand, you know, human speech that well. So thanks for joining us today on our trek through the woods. We hope you liked it, and if you really liked it, feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Till next time. See you then.